Hey everyone, welcome back to the Thinking Crypto channel, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. What a big news day it was today. We had the Fed come out and say, hey, we're not raising interest rates anytime soon. Now, they did leave the door open that they could potentially do it this year, but it was good news. And it's along the lines of what we've been talking about. If they were to raise rates too fast or come out aggressive, it could send the stock market in a spiral downtrend, which would affect the economy, and they would have bigger problems than inflation. So I want to talk about that, also talk about Bitcoin's timeline with the retracement and alt season. And speaking of alts, we have huge Ripple XRP news. Ripple did a buyback out of a Series C funding they did in 2019 from Tetragon. Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, was interviewed. He had some bullish statements around what he's seeing for 2022, the SEC lawsuit, Ripple's plans for an IPO, and so forth. And there's some huge adoption news with the with the XRP ledger that I want to share with you guys. Also, very bullish statements coming from Vladimir Putin out of Russia. He's saying that Russia has an advantage with crypto mining. He wants the finance ministry and the central bank to get it together and get crypto regulations going. We've been talking about this, so I like what I'm hearing. There's huge news coming out of Turkey. We have a bank that is adopting crypto. We have a stock exchange that's being built and will be powered by Bitcoin and crypto. It's massively bullish news I want to break down for you guys. So before we get to it, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment below, and hit the subscribe button. If you're new here, it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. If you're listening on a podcast site, please give me a 5-star rating. Guys, earlier today, I uploaded my interview with Hong Fang, CEO of OKCoin Crypto Exchange. Guys, she left her job at Goldman Sachs and the traditional financial market to come work in crypto. And that is so analogous of what's happening right now. We're seeing the mass exodus, right? We've been covering the news, people leaving traditional tech jobs, traditional financial market jobs, and coming into crypto. So be sure to check out that interview. I'll put a link in the description. Now, this content is brought to you by Algorand, which is building the future of finance. Algorand is one of the leading blockchain projects in the crypto industry. They're getting significant adoption and investment. And I personally hold the Algo token, and it's really one of the reasons why I selected them to be a sponsor of the channel. I'm very bullish on this project. So if you'd like to learn more about Algorand, please visit algorand.com. Now, if we look at the crypto market right now, Bitcoin was over $38,000 this morning. It's cooling down a bit right now. It's at $36,783. All coins are not doing anything. All coins are waiting for Bitcoin's move, right? If we look at the Bitcoin daily chart here, certainly Bitcoin is in a price discovery mode to find a bottom. And that bottom could be 30,000, 32,000, 35,000. I don't know. We have to see what happens here. Nevertheless, it's going through its cycle, and we could see another pullback downwards to the 32 range or $30,000 range before we head into the retracement of Bitcoin moving back upwards, going to maybe between 55 to 58K. At which point I told you guys I will be taking some profits at that point, and I'll be waiting for alt season to start after that. So it's just a waiting game right now. Bitcoin's just going to have to do its thing, find that double bottom, so to speak, the double tapping the bottom, and then we have the retracement to move up back up. Now, as always, this is not guaranteed, right? This is not financial or investment advice, because we could have a black swan event happening. Look, I don't know, some war with Russia and Ukraine, look, the pandemic, this virus situation, all these things are looming in the background. I'm hoping they don't happen, but I'm also, once again, you can't 100% with 100% certainty say this is exactly what's going to happen. You have to open your mind up to different scenarios and possibilities and look at the likelihood of which scenario is going to play out. So I think this is what's going to happen. And we got some good news from the Fed that they're not raising rates. They're going to keep it as is. They did leave the door open that they could potentially do it, look, next month or March or later this year. We don't know, but at this point, they're not doing it. And we saw the markets crashed hard. They went down very fast, I think anticipating and pricing in the potential rate hike. So I think the Fed pumped the brakes there. They were like, okay, we're not going to do anything because as we've been talking about, stocks and a lot of the other assets are so tied to the economy because of quantitative easing on steroids and the buying that the Fed has been doing, buying bonds and all securities and all these things. It's so tied to the economy. If they go too aggressive, they become too hawkish, they will hurt the economy. They're going to have bigger problems than inflation. And remember what we've been talking about. This is an election year. And I'm sure you look, Biden's president, he's a Democrat. A lot of Democrats, they're going to be in trouble, especially if they take a hard stance on crypto. But if the economy's in a bad place, what are people going to do? Go to the other side, right? So that's how we've seen this game played for a very long time. So when you keep these things in the back of your mind, you can then get an idea how the market might go. Now, this is not a perfect science, but obviously if history is any indication of how things move, we can certainly be a bit confident about it, but things can happen. Black swan events can happen and so forth. So good news there. All right, let's jump into some Ripple news. It's just big. Brad Garlinghouse tweeted out the following last night. Excited to announce Ripple bought back our Series C December 2019 shares at a $15 billion valuation. In 2022, slowdown is not in our vocabulary, even with 2021's headwinds. It was our best year on record, and Ripple's financial position, $1 billion in the bank, strongest ever been. Wow. One would not think this would be the case because of the SEC lawsuit, but as I've stated many times, Ripple is a global company and they're getting adoption globally. They're not just reliant on the US market. Now, they would love for this lawsuit to be done with so that they can get things going in the United States, but they're getting a business around the globe. They've got locations in other countries. So things are progressing. He continues saying RippleNet is much more than cross-border payments. It's bringing crypto native services such as liquidity to enterprises. Today, the network has a volume run rate of greater than $10 billion. Huge props to the team for continuously upping their game and leaning into capabilities every year. Finally, he says here, Ripple X full speed ahead on establishing a multitude of capabilities to the XRP ledger, including NFTs, CBDCs, interoperability bridges, side chains, and so much more, working hand in hand with devs and partners around the world. It's a multi-chain world after all. And he put a smiley face there. This is very bullish and confident news, from Brad, given the circumstance that you're being sued by the SEC. But as I've been saying, the SEC does not have a strong case here because you have the Ethereum conflict of interest, you have the fair notice defense, which I think is very strong. And I think you apply common sense to this and you see it because it's not just about Ripple and XRP. What about the other 3,000 crypto projects, right? All those are really on the list of the SEC's attack. And Ripple winning this lawsuit, like I've been saying, they need to win this because it will give the rest of the crypto market some ammunition to be able to fight back and to win any type of enforcement action taken by the SEC. Now, here's some reporting from Charles Gasparino around that buyback and what it means. So Ripple's repurchase of its private shares has some crypto investors feeling bullish about the company's ability to prevail in the SEC case and then IPO possibly this year. So I think if this thing wraps up, this lawsuit wraps up at least by mid-year, Ripple could certainly do an IPO. He says others, though, are worried it's a move to limit the liability in case of a loss. Now, I don't think so personally. In fact, here's what Eleanor Tourette found later on after this tweet. She said one of Ripple's shareholders, Tetragon, unsuccessfully sued Ripple to retrieve its 2019 $175 million Series C investment after learning of the SEC lawsuit. Ripple just bought back its original investment, and they tell me Tetragon is still an investor in the company along with SBI Group. So the fact that this company sued them, they got bought out, but they're still an investor, probably in a smaller scale, but they're still an investor. So I don't see this buyback as being something bearish or something that's a negative. I think it's positive, honestly. Now, we get further clarity from Brad Garlinghouse because he was interviewed by Protocol, and that article was published today. And here's the headline: Ripple CEO won't apologize for taking on the SEC. Here's a subquote: the SEC declared war on Ripple. We're defending ourselves. So let me read some of his respective answers to these questions. First question: why buy back shares? He said, a lot has changed in the crypto world in the last 2 years since we did this funding round. Overall asset values have grown from about $200 billion to about 8x that today. Ripple's business has materially grown. So despite these crazy headwinds with the SEC and frankly, losing some customers because of the SEC lawsuit, we grew very quickly. And we feel like we're starting 2022 in a great position of strength. That is a bullish, confident statement to make when you're being sued by the SEC. But I think, once again, they know they are in a position to win this thing, and the SEC is not looking good. He says, we have over $1 billion of cash on the balance sheet today. We're super excited about where things are going. We had this opportunity to repurchase shares at a $15 billion valuation. We obviously thought it was a good use of capital for all shareholders. So it's not like they did this in secret. Obviously, these things don't happen overnight, and they have to talk to the rest of the shareholders and so forth. Here's the next question. You're still in a battle with the SEC. How do you see the regulatory challenges unfolding this year? He said, if you step back at 100,000 feet, the regulatory climate globally has actually trended extremely positively over the last 5 years. You see that trend line for most major markets recognizes that digital assets can and will play a role in the future financial system. And that's to the benefit of consumers, the benefit of businesses, and the benefit of even governments. He said, if you look at it at a very high level, countries like the UK, Switzerland, Japan, Singapore have all provided very constructive frameworks. Yes, there's regulatory oversight, but they're actually encouraging that innovation. Your question, I think, is more about what's going on in the United States. I think it's certainly disappointing and frustrating as a US company to find ourselves where we're at. And he says, the SEC continues, in my judgment, to drag its feet. It just feels like there's a certain hypocrisy since the SEC continuing to note that justice delayed is justice denied. So he continues and so forth. Now, here's another question related to that. There's the view you have become much more combative, especially on Twitter. That's true. He said, the SEC declared war on Ripple. Are we being combative? I don't know. We're trying to defend ourselves. If you read their initial lawsuit, there's all kinds of allegations that aren't actually grounded in fact. They're certainly contorted. They have certainly contorted the facts into telling a story which doesn't represent reality. I don't know if we're being combative. I think we're trying to get the truth. We're trying to get this resolved as expediently, oh my goodness, I can't say that word today, as we can. The SEC is dragging its feet. We got sued. You think that if they sued us, they'd have all the ducks in a row, and they're the ones dragging their feet. Of course, I'm going to be combative. And, they asked a question here about the IPO. Here's the question. There will likely be speculation that the move of this buyback or buying shares is a step toward an IPO. Can you comment on that? He said, that is an astute observation. The United States does have the most liquid, the most vibrant, and largest capital market in the world. My hope and expectation is we'll get this case with the SEC behind us in 2022. And he says, we're going to evaluate what we're going to do from there and so on and so forth. So very confident statements and answers. And once again, I think they feel they are in a great position. And I think we can see a bit of that from the outside with the SEC's getting called out, the hypocrisy being reported on Jay Clayton and William Hinman. They're being investigated by whistleblowers and all kinds of stuff that's happening. When you look at the full picture, it's like, wow, okay, Ripple, they also have the crypto industry behind them. There's a lot of folks who want Ripple to win. Now, with that said, here's some adoption news around the XRP ledger. So Ripple X tweeted out today, it's a multi-chain world after all. We're excited to support Allbridge and bring millions of DeFi users to the XRP ledger. So Allbridge tweeted out, or excuse me, they published on their blog that they're adding support for the XRP ledger. Let me give you the details as to what this is. Allbridge, a cross-chain bridge with more than $500 million in total value locked, is integrating the XRP ledger as its 12th blockchain, allowing the seamless transfer of its native digital assets, XRP, across Ethereum, Avalanche, Solana, Terra, Polygon, Phantom, Binance Smart Chain, Celo, Aurora, Harmony, and Hecko. So this is good news, guys. And Ripple's Monica Long, who I've interviewed, she said the following regarding that. She said the XRP ledger, with its native decentralized exchange functionality, allows digital assets like Luna, Solana, and USDC to trade seamlessly, exchange thanks to bridges like Allbridge. So more adoption, liquidity, and the ability to do some cool things with DeFi coming to the XRP ledger. So good news, the building, the progress continues to happen. As I've stated to you guys many times, XRP is the #1 holding in my portfolio. Bitcoin's my #2, Ethereum my #3. I'm still bullish on XRP. I believe, this lawsuit situation really sucks, but in a way, there's a silver lining that the price is so suppressed, and XRP has been delisted from like 90% of the exchanges. And once Ripple wins this thing and gets relisted, that's going to add more, I think, push and momentum to the price that would have happened anyway with alt season. So, that's just my perspective. I want to hear what you guys think, of course. And I'm not saying that is exactly what's going to happen, because I can't predict the future. But, based on the facts that I have today, that's honestly what I think. Now, the SEC, speaking of the SEC, guys, and Ripple, they are going after crypto exchanges. And we've been talking about this. Gensler said he was going to do it. Well, today, crypto lending firms Celsius Network, Gemini face SEC scrutiny. So we saw Gensler and the SEC block Coinbase lending. We saw Brian Armstrong at Coinbase tweet out that the SEC is acting shady. Guys, Gensler and the SEC has to be stopped. Once again, going back to my initial statements that the SEC and Gary Gensler need to be stopped, and we need Ripple to win. We need Ripple to win because it will help a lot of the crypto projects and even exchanges to fight back. And hopefully Congress can make a move as well and provide the clarity we need. Now, here's some big news about a bank adopting crypto. New York's 5-star bank will allow customers to buy, sell, and hold Bitcoin. Most likely this is through NYDIG, and I'm trying to get an interview with the folks at NYDIG, which are helping to connect credit unions and small banks around the United States to crypto, be able to buy, sell, trade, and hold for their customers. Guys, I hope you see what's happening here. Banks, stock exchanges, all these folks are getting involved. And if you're concerned about daily price swings and weekly price swings, you're missing the bigger picture and the opportunity to make significant returns here, because all these big players are now jumping in and they're investing billions of dollars. Now, we've been talking about Russia. Russia, a central bank came out and said, hey, we want to ban crypto. Then the finance ministry came out yesterday and said, hey, no, we're not banning. We need to regulate. Well, Putin, the big bear himself, came out and said Russia has some advantages in crypto mining. And remember when I reported to you guys about the big mining that's happening in Siberia and the massive amounts of miners that are being sent there? I'm sure they know what's going on, right? they know the mining is happening there. And, with the cold weather advantage that they have, I think is what he's alluding to, and possibly some cheap electricity as well, they could certainly do massive amounts of mining efficiently. He also called for the finance ministry and the central banks to agree on crypto. Of course he did, guys. I hope none of you weren't like shook or worried about this Russia ban news we talked about last week. Like I said, it was just posturing by the central bank, and that they cannot ban this thing. If they do it, their economy will die. I've been on record. So if you've been listening and subscribed, I've said these things. And now look, Putin is coming out and just validating that, crypto's here to stay. Get your act together, finance ministry and central bank. And guess what? Russia has an advantage for crypto mining. Now, if you've been an OG subscriber to my channel, I've been talking about it for years. Macroeconomic geopolitical battle for the control of Bitcoin, world superpowers. I have the videos. I got the receipts, guys. I talked about it. China, Russia, and United States. This is the new asset class, and it is a global asset class. And if you position yourself to mine and have control of the Bitcoin hash rate and other aspects of crypto, you will have reap a lot of benefits. So this is a very bullish sign. Now, speaking of global crypto expansion, Turkey's president reportedly instructed the ruling party to explore cryptocurrencies. At one point, they were trashing crypto and they were like, oh yeah, the blah, 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 we're going to ban it. Now, hey guys, you better get that going. Start researching. Let's go. This is coming, guys. The massive global adoption, and we're still early in the adoption curve. Now let's move ahead. Look at this. Gibraltar is looking to launch the world's first stock exchange to accept payments in Bitcoin and crypto. Of course. It's like, if you don't see what's happening now, if you just got into the market, I understand that you're probably like, what, who? Like, you're still learning. But those of you who've been here at least for a couple of years, do you see what is happening? They're all going to capitulate. All the dominoes are going to fall, guys. They're all going to fall one by one. And if you have governments and stock exchanges and the biggest financial institutions in the world and the billionaires and the hedge funds, the masses will eventually follow. It's coming. The mass marketing has also started. Look at this, Matt Hancock. And I don't know much about him. He's the MP for West Suffolk. This is the UK. He tweeted out the following today, and it's amazing to see this dialogue happening. He said the UK can be the home of new innovations like fintech and cryptocurrency. Done right, we can increase transparency and lead in new world-changing technology. And the video of him talking about it, essentially what some of the pro-crypto congressmen and women have been saying here in the United States. Dialogue is happening globally around governments. Guys, I'm going to say it again. Do you see what is happening here? This is not a fad. This is not some joke. This is a disruptive technology. It is going to change the world. It's the next layer on top of the internet. And it's going to be bigger than the internet because it's going to enable so much more than just going online and shopping and connecting on social media. We're going to see massive commerce like never before, global 24/7 trading, all kinds of different things, tokenization of assets, everything, real estate, cars, artwork, everything on the Web3 blockchain layer, guys. Great things are ahead. And obviously the metaverse is a part of that as well. Now, Valkyrie, which has been a company that has been filing for a lot of Bitcoin ETFs, well, they have filed to list Bitcoin mining ETF on the NASDAQ exchange. So this sounds like it's going to be essentially the mining companies, many of which are public. Like, for example, I'm invested in Riot Blockchain, the stock. There's Marathon Digital Holdings. There's a bunch that are public. And I'm sure it looks like they're building an ETF around this, which absolutely makes sense. Smart move on their part. Now, FTX Crypto Exchange, they've raised $400 million from SoftBank, Paradigm, and others in a deal valuing the crypto exchange at $8 billion. I'm going to repeat some statements I've made before. This is being reported by Bloomberg. The people investing in this are not investing these millions to lose it. They want a return on their investment. In order for exchanges like crypto exchanges to grow, what has to happen? We need more users to come on board. What has to happen to give the incentive for more users to invest in crypto and NFTs and so forth? The value has to increase. Guys, put it all together. This is why you need to be patient and look at the market from a macro perspective. The Winklevoss twins, Cameron and Tyler, who I've interviewed, obviously the owners of the Gemini exchange. Well, it says here, Winklevoss owned Gemini. Galactic snags FINRA broker-dealer approval. The license could open up future opportunities around digital securities trading. Tyler and Cameron are doing some really, really smart, or making some smart moves. I see they're taking this super buttoned up regulatory approach than many other exchanges, and they're getting all these cool licenses. And I think they're making the move in the right direction as it comes to the crypto market. They're doing something different than I think a lot of the other folks out there. So big shout out to them. It just shows, guys, more investment, more expansion, more building, and all these things will culminate to higher prices, higher valuations. And I hope you have the patience to just step back and just look at this thing and wait. I know the market cycles are very volatile, but there's money to be made here. We are still very early. And think about if someone came to you in 1995 and said, hey, there's this thing called Google. There's this thing called Amazon and eBay, and you put some money into it. And if you weren't patient and you're like, oh man, I've been waiting for 3 years, that's it, I'm done. And we know how that story ends, right, guys? We know we're living it right now. Look at the valuations and so forth. So something to keep in mind. Remember, smart money, institutional money, they've always been able to beat out retail investors historically because they are more patient. They take a position. Yes, they buy, they study the markets, they buy the lows. They don't do herd mentality and buy the top. They take time. They go through news like this. They look at who's investing, what's the market cycles, what's happening. They take a position and then they wait. And of course, they keep on top of the charts and what may be coming, when are the bull cycles, take profits, so on and so forth. While retail, for example, some retail investors who are not studying the market cycles, they came and they bought at 69,000 or whatever, and then Bitcoin crash, then they sell right here. Now, if you need the money, yes, you do what you got to do, but dollar cost average, right? Okay, I took a position there. Guess what? I'm going to take a position down here, right? And the average, the DCA average, it would reduce your the amount of what the dollar cost average, I should say, of the amount that your average price buy-in, I should say, that you have, and then you wait. But many retail investors like, oh my God, it crashed. Oh no, sell. And it's like, you do realize markets move in cycles, and this thing is going to go higher. So that comes from following mainstream media and listening to guys like Jim Cramer, but you got to break out of that. And when I learned that, guys, that's when I actually started making money with investing, not just in crypto, but stocks. So guys, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.